You know what? I hate the term natural disasters. Like, I've talked about climate change, extreme weather events, and droughts and hurricanes. I've never actually called them, like, natural disasters. Like, I just hate that term. Before I dig a deeper hole for myself, we have to acknowledge the importance of addressing natural disasters. Natural disasters are environmentally detrimental events that are caused by natural factors, such as earthquakes, hurricanes, flooding, and drought. Natural disasters is a common term we recognize and understand, and we know the procedures that take place when there is such natural disasters. Charities, funds, donations, search and rescue, and humanitarian work are what we think of when we think of natural disasters. Human beings are affected by the environment, something that's beyond our control. But what if I tell you that it is within our control? Natural disasters aren't all that natural anymore. Hurricanes, droughts, flooding are all exacerbated by man-made factors. Some researchers even argued that the magnitude and frequency of earthquakes are exacerbated by man-made factors. Fracking for oil, for example, has caused earthquakes at traditionally earthquake-safe places that are not at the edge of a tectonic plate. I'm not here to talk about how natural disasters are man-made. The extreme weather events video covers most of that, because that'll just be recycling content, and Tangly, never recycles content. What? That's a baseless accusation. Human-induced climate change intensifies existing extreme weather events, but we only call it a disaster when it affects humans. Think about it. Natural disasters often come with a death toll or a financial cost. It is either the most expensive disaster or the most deaths. This beckons the question, is it only a disaster when humans are affected? If so, who? If a tree falls, but no one heard or witnessed it, did it really fall? Likewise, if an uninhabited island flooded, was it really flooded? Even worse, what if it was one singular guy that meant to no one in society that lived on that island that flooded and died? Does anyone really care? Okay, maybe that doesn't make much sense. My point is that these events are disproportionately affecting marginalized communities. They're the ones living in vulnerable areas, because those are often the cheapest. And if I may be so bold, this is the downfall of capitalism, putting the poor in the most vulnerable positions in society because the rest can afford safety. The ontological definition of natural disasters imply that it is natural. It is out of our control. This knows our responsibility of causing these disasters, mass deaths, or expenditure. It detaches our emotions and relevance to the event, especially with the increased frequency of these disasters. Our compassion gets more and more saturated. For example, if you see the same news over and over again, do you find yourself caring more or less? When natural disasters might seem out of our control, we're the ones that make it a disaster. It is not just an occupational hazard of living on Earth. We're actually changing the behaviors of the environment that exacerbate both existing inequalities and environmental impacts. But thankfully, the story doesn't end there. If we're worsening it, surely we can do something to make it better. I had a professor who was like, so many of these natural hazards, he used the words natural hazards for exactly the same reason. These natural hazards can be avoided with smart and sustainable urban planning. These like dingbats built on like floodplains and built subpar buildings in hurricane vulnerable areas and force the people to stay there because good housing is like way too expensive. And as much as this perspective is, monovisioned, good urban planning is actually quite important. It is important, but it's not the only solution. And many of these issues can be resolved with, just a bit of foresight and understanding of the environment. And perhaps, before we make a big decision next time, it might be worth asking, what are the consequences of this, and was it worth it?